Hello, my name is Mike, and in this video we're going to look at what I think are the 5 best D&D monsters for DMs to roleplay. Please keep in mind that this is my opinion only, but I welcome yours in the comment section below. I also want to point out that this list of creatures aren't necessarily the most powerful monsters in D&D, but the ones I think offer the best roleplay potential, lore, versatility, and overall fun for both the DM and the players to encounter in a game. I'm also taking this from a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition perspective. Alright. Coming in at number 5 on my list are the dreaded Mind Flayers, otherwise known as Illithids. These evil aberrations delight in devouring the brain of their prey. In fact, the monster manual says that a Mind Flayer experiences euphoria as it devours the brain of a humanoid, and that a healthy, brain-rich diet will cause a mucus-like substance to coat the Illithid's skin. Its head resembles an octopus with 4 tentacles protruding from its mouth, and before the fall of their empires, they were feared throughout the multiverse. They are highly intelligent, and they use that intelligence to bend other sentient creatures to their will. They're diabolical masterminds, always plotting, scheming, and trying to find a way to enslave and dominate other beings, which makes them a perfect addition to any campaign. A Mind Flayer should rightfully strike fear into the hearts of any adventuring party, since they are far more versatile and dangerous than the vast majority of 5th edition monsters. They are a CR7 creature with powerful psionic abilities. They're able to use their psionic abilities to levitate and detect thoughts at will. The detect thoughts ability can really enhance their versatility, since a well-prepared DM can use this ability to either interrogate a PC or an NPC close to the party, or use it to glean bits of knowledge that it otherwise wouldn't be privy to. The Illithid can also send out a psychic wave in a 60-foot cone, DC 15 intelligence saving throw, that will cause 4d8 plus 4 psychic damage, and more importantly, stun that creature for up to 1 minute. Once this is done, in theory, the Illithid could use its Extract Brain melee attack to do 10d10 points of piercing damage. If it manages to do enough damage to bring the target to 0 hit points, it can extract and devour its brain. The Mind Flayer also has resistance to magic, dark vision up to 120 feet, and telepathy. The AC is quite low at 15, and it has lowish amount of hit points at 71. But still, the Mind Flayer is steeped in lore, full of roleplay potential, and is able to pump out enough damage that it should make any adventuring party a little nervous. You can also create variants, such as the Mind Flayer Arcanist, which adds quite a few powerful spells such as Invisibility, Confusion, and Shield, which can help you bump that AC a little bit for 1 turn. Personally, I take something like Mage Armor instead, which would boost this monster's danger level significantly. Coming in at number 4 is the Mighty Sphinx. In sacred isolation, a sphinx guards the secrets and treasures of the gods. As it calmly regards each new party that comes before it, the bones of supplicants and quest seekers that failed to pass its test lie scattered around its lair. Its great wings sweep along its flanks, its tawny leonine body rippling with muscle, and possessed of 4 paws powerful enough to tear a humanoid in half. I mean, this thing is a GM's dream come true. Powerful, intelligent, and often in possession of god treasure that pretty much any adventuring party would want to get their hands on. The Sphinx is a veritable treasure trove of potential. They can often be found in ancient tombs, ruins, extraplanar realms, or any space that a GM can devise for it. They're also prominent in ancient Egyptian and Greek mythology, and in those ancient legends, Sphinxes often like to speak in riddles, which you could work into the D&D version to make this monster even more interesting than it already is. The Sphinx comes in 2 varieties, the Androsphinx and the Gynosphinx, which are basically the male and female version of Sphinx found in D&D. The Androsphinx, or the male version, is stronger, has a stronger spellcasting ability, and is able to roar. The female version is smarter, but has a much lower CR rating at CR 11, and compared to the male counterpart, which comes in at CR 17. The Sphinx is immune to any effect that would sense its emotions or read its thoughts, is able to fly 60 feet, move on ground at a speed of 40 feet, and is able to cast spells like a 12th level spellcaster. If all that wasn't enough, the Sphinx is able to teleport using 2 legendary actions, has a natural armor class of 17, 199 hit points, and is immune to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. And it's immune to psychic damage. Its only real weakness is its 10 dexterity, which makes it vulnerable to effects that require dexterity saving throws, but overall, the Sphinx is a beast of a monster that is both interesting and powerful. The role-playing potential is astronomical. You can get lost in its lore, which offers any number of adventure hooks for enterprising DMs. Coming in at number 3 is the Vampire. I'm currently running the Curse of Strahd campaign, and the main character, Strahd, is basically the D&D version of Dracula. It's also the campaign that is widely believed to be the best 5th edition module, and I think one of the biggest reasons for that is its central villain. Strahd is a lot of fun to play, and each GM is free to make him their own. He's able to toy with the players by physically and mentally punishing them. He's powerful, aloof, immune to non-magical attacks, and is able to cast spells at a 9th level spellcaster's proficiency. Vampires are also steeped in lore and play prominently in the horror genre. There's something intimate yet bestial about the vampire archetype that seems to draw us in. If played correctly, the vampire can be a memorable villain to play against. They also come with plenty of roleplay avenues, since they're often extremely intelligent and can also manipulate their environment, such as a creeping fog being noticeable within 500 feet of its lair. They can create lesser vampire spawn, and you can create variants very easily that help to define the particular type of vampire you want to play, such as a warrior vampire or one that focuses on its spellcasting ability. The vampire is also able to charm its victims, and even though 5th edition has watered down the difficulty and duration of a spell's effects, the charm ability of a vampire requires a character to pass a DC 17 Wisdom saving throw or become in effect an unwilling servant of the vampire. They can also polymorph into mist or a bat, spider climb, and they regenerate 20 hit points at the beginning of their turn. The vampire is also able to summon swarms of bats, rats, or wolves, and can perform legendary actions such as bite or make an unarmed strike. In other words, the vampire is extremely versatile, scary, and full of potential. They make excellent villains, and like Curse of Strahd, you can build an entire campaign around them. They're also good for introducing new players to D&D, because whether you've played the game before, you've surely heard of and are well acquainted with some of the lore surrounding the dreaded vampire. Coming in at number 2 is the Mighty Undead Lich. What happens when you take a super powerful wizard, add in a dash of not wanting to cease to exist, and make them so evil that they're willing to embrace undeath to preserve their existence? You end up with a terrifying Lich, of course. It was seriously hard to pick between my number 2 and number 1 choice. The Lich just has so much going for it, and like the vampire, you can easily build an entire campaign setting around a Lich. In one Pathfinder game I played, the party members were evil and unwittingly worked for a powerful Lich. We spent time, money, and precious resources trying to figure out a way of getting out from beneath its thumb, but the Lich was constantly one step ahead of us. Truly one of the most memorable campaigns I had the pleasure of playing in. In D&D 5th edition, they've been watered down slightly, but still retain many of the traits that make this monster so memorable. The Lich is able to paralyze with a touch, frighten characters with a look, and cast spells as an 18th level spellcaster. They're also resistant to cold, lightning, and necrotic damage, and completely immune to poison, non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. The Lich has legendary resistance, which means that 3 times per day, the Lich can choose to succeed on a saving throw if they initially fail. The Lich is aesthetically pleasing, fun to play, hard to play against, and full of role-playing potential. They're known for having lairs bursting at the seams with fell traps, monsters, and guardians. Before making this video, I held a poll on Twitter, and the Lich won with more than 10% more votes than the next highest competitor. They're just so pleasing on every level. I love imagining how a Lich came to be. They can have so many different but diabolical motivations, and they're wonderfully rich with potential. I personally find that spellcasting creatures are far more versatile than most, hit and smash sort of monsters. I also enjoy when a villain is intelligent, and the Lich has both of those and much, much more. I tip my hat to the master of the undead, the scheming, insane, indomitable Lich. Now for my number 1 choice as my favorite monster to roleplay as a DM, the always treacherous Green Dragon. I love dragons in general, but the Green Dragon is just awesome in its potential. It's extremely powerful, but will often bide its time if it thinks it's outmatched, or choose a toy with its prey, sometimes breaking their mind and bending them to its will. The Green Dragon loves to trick well-intentioned adventurers into working for it, and will lie, cheat, or attempt to intimidate other creatures. The Green Dragon basks in the fear of its victims, and will sometimes stalk its prey for days before finally attacking. If there's an adventuring party, it might kill some of them and take the others as slaves, forcing them to prove their worth on a daily basis or die. They will also treat well-known slaves as part of their treasure trove, delighting in the breaking of their spirit. They often make lairs in forests or within caves that can only be accessed through water. They're able to breathe air or water, and are in possession of a devastating poison breath attack. The green dragon can use its frightful presence, which requires a wisdom saving throw, or the character is frightened of the dragon for up to 1 minute, before making 3 melee attacks. I really do hate that 5th edition took away the green dragon's spellcasting abilities, and I'd consider adding a few in, such as Dominate Person and Charm, since I feel as though these spells or spell-like abilities would really fit in and enhance the green dragon's role-playing arsenal. You can find some of the spellcasting abilities or ones that mimic them in the green dragon's lair actions, such as the ability to create grasping roots in a 20-foot radius anywhere within 120 feet of it. You can also play around with the regional effects that the dragon could cause, such as thorny, labyrinthine passages, perhaps crawling with unseen guards outside of its lair. I think personally this monster being a dragon is part of its charm, but I also love the cruel, manipulative mind that green dragons possess. I think it offers something a bit different than most of the hit point meat buckets often found in D&D 5th edition. And although I love this game, I really enjoy monsters that bring with them something unique, something I can play around with in the game world. Anyhow, that's my list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please leave your comments below and let me know what your favorite monster to roleplay as a DM is. If you're a player, which monsters offered you an unforgettable experience? Thanks for watching.